In this installment, we have Thanksgiving football. We're going to go over the DraftKings slate for this Thanksgiving. Happy holidays to everyone, and let's get into it. Hey, yo! Welcome back to the channel. This is your boy Chef D, and I'm here to give you the winning ingredients for your Thursday Thanksgiving DraftKings slate. But before we deep dive into that, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetsJetsD. Don't forget about that TikTok at Chef_D91. And don't forget about the Patreon if you want more DFS, betting, and fantasy football advice. All those links will be provided down below. All right, guys, the first thing we're going to get into for this slate will be the quarterback position here. Only 3 games here, so not a lot of depth here. We might have to find some gems here and there. And the first guy we're going to talk about will be Josh Allen. Josh Allen obviously is in the best matchup of the whole entire slate, and he's going to carry the majority of the ownership. So when you're in these tournaments here playing for that NFL Thanksgiving DraftKings slate, you're going to see 70+% of Josh Allen at that quarterback position. So if we can find a gem other than Josh Allen, because there's a way you can win with him, and there's 100% a way you can win without him, okay? So Josh Allen, obviously in a great matchup against the Detroit Lions. Fantasy points allowed to that quarterback position here. The Lions have been putrid all year long. They played very well last week, stopping the run game of Saquon Barkley. But this is a little bit different animal here because Josh Allen can create with his arm and his legs, as you can see all season long. 32nd and 31st ranking against that quarterback position. If I move this adjustment just a little bit, if I move it to the past couple weeks, the Lions are still dead last, second to dead last. You see 31st and 29th in the red zone. So things do not change, okay? They're still very bad against opposing quarterbacks, and Josh Allen is in a great spot now. That's going to be the one guy we're going to key on. The other guys at the quarterback position that we do need to mention that have some upside. Number 1 will be Kirk Cousins. Yes, I said Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, not at the 1 o'clock time. No, it's not. But this is a Thanksgiving game Thursdays. He played okay so far in his career on Thursdays, but this is a spot where they're trying to prove to the NFC and to the NFL that this is a solidified team, okay? Bona fide team. After beating the Bills, they were embarrassed against the Dallas Cowboys, and that's the key factor to going to Kirk Cousins in this game, especially at home. Kirk Cousins plays very well at home, despite the fact that this is not at the 1 o'clock slot time, and they are trying to prove to the NFL, and this is a great test here in the New England Patriots that plays solid defense, but Minnesota, hand over fist, has way better talented playmakers at each and every position on that offense, okay? So Kirk Cousins is someone we can look at 5,600 home game here, has some upside. Yes, the New England Patriots have played solidly, but you can't go back on what happened, how New England played against the Jets, because Zach Wilson is absolutely putrid, all right? Kirk Cousins and the weapons he has is on a whole nother level. Obviously, Bill Belichick is going to focus in on Justin Jefferson as well. So Kirk Cousins is the second guy I will mention. So I'll take Josh Allen out. He's pretty obvious. Kirk Cousins is going to be my second favorite quarterback for this Thanksgiving slate. Let's go to the other quarterbacks that we do need to mention. We got Dak Prescott here. Dak Prescott is in consideration here. It's between him and Daniel Jones at that number 3 spot at the quarterback position. This is an in-division matchup here. This is going to be a tough, rugged, ugly game. There's going to be a ton of juice on the side of that Dallas Cowboys team because they just destroyed the Minnesota Vikings. But I think things come around just a little bit. Get off your high horse, and you're going to meet a team that knows you very well in the New York Giants. So Dak Prescott has some home road splits right now. If you're looking at home games, he's averaging 14.7 compared to on the road. He's averaging 20.9 fantasy points here. And then you get the fact that this is the New York Giants team that, yes, understand they struggled against the Detroit Lions. The Lions took big advantage of those goal-to-goal situation, giving the football to their running back, okay? So, Dak Prescott is someone we consider, obviously, he can create with his arm and a little bit with his legs as well, but this is an in-division matchup. So, Dak Prescott, let's look at fantasy points allowed. Let's go to StatMuse. Let's see his DKP average against the Giants. Let's do this live. All right, Dak Prescott. And DKP means DraftKings points. All right, DKP by game log. You got to make sure you spell everything right. Versus Giants. Let's do last 5 games, okay? So we get a little idea. Right? A lot of up and down. We got stuff from 2019, but let's look at the past 2 years. 14.4, 25.7, and 11.6. So not that great there, especially with this improved defense for the New York Giants. So Dak Prescott is going to be the number 3 option. And then Daniel Jones is someone we can consider as well because of the rushing upside. He took full advantage of the Detroit Lions last week. 27 attempts, 44 attempts, 27 completions, 2 interceptions. That was embarrassing right there. But he rushed for 50 yards and a touchdown. Got you 29 fantasy points. An ugly game, technically, but still got you there with his fantasy production and his legs. Okay, legs are going to be very key. So Daniel Jones is in the conversation as well for this Thanksgiving slate. And then last but not least, you got Mac Jones. He's going to be last on our list between him and Jared Goff. He's dead last. We're not going to play Mac Jones. All right, he's horrible. I don't even care that the Minnesota Vikings give up some yardage, all right? Some yardage, but it's mainly inflated because of that Dallas Cowboys game. If we go to this Minnesota Vikings team, they played the Bills. Obviously, they was going to give up big points against that elite offense, but they faced the Commanders, 17 points. They faced the Cardinals, 26. They faced the Dolphins. That's a key factor there. Dolphins have a high-powered offense as well. Only 16 points, 22 against the Bears, 25 against the Saints, okay? So across the board, they haven't been giving up big games there, 30-plus. No. And then Mac Jones is not the type of quarterback, especially in that offense with those playmakers, that you definitely look down upon, all right? Jared Goff is going to be above Mac Jones if you want to go this route because he's in a game environment where he's going to have to put up points to compete with the Buffalo Bills. So we could see a game where we get a Jared Goff of 21 fantasy points, maybe a game of 37.2 where he did against the Seattle Seahawks or against Washington, where he had 26 fantasy points. So he's one of the sneakier guys in this game environment that's going to have around over 50 real points scored in that game. So Jared Goff is someone we can consider as well. But my number 2 guys are going to be Josh Allen, and it's going to be Kirk Cousins, all right? Let's move on to the running backs. The big bruisers are next in the running backs, and we're going to start off at the top here with Saquon Barkley. This is a spot where people were left holding their backs pretty much here. 5 fantasy points against the Detroit Lions. Absolutely embarrassing performance. And this is the reason why we can get Saquon Barkley at a little bit lesser percent of ownership than usual because he really didn't show up in that game where everyone expected him to go off. But this is still a great matchup. If we're looking at fantasy points allowed to that running back position, the Dallas Cowboys, yes, it says number 5th rank, and yes, it says number 2 in the red zone. But the key factor is they're allowing over 100 yards rushing and 4.5 yards a carry. If we adjust this line here, that's bottom 10 in the league, okay? Bottom 10 in the league and around almost bottom 10 in the yards per carry as well. So Saquon Barkley is in yet another good spot here. And if Daniel Jones struggles, looks as you see, he tends to struggle. Saquon Barkley is going to be the key factor here that's going to get the rushing work and get receiving. At $8,000 in salary, I have no problem paying up top dollar for him at running back, all right? Next guy we're going to look at will be Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook is in an okay situation here at 7,400. For the Minnesota Vikings to control this game, they're going to need to remember to run the ball, okay? They're going to have to give Dalvin Cook 15 to 20 touches, like they've done majority of games here. 17 against Washington, 20 against the Miami Dolphins, 18 against Chicago, 20 against New Orleans, right? This is a key ingredient to this offense, all right? The question is he going to get in the end zone? Because the way how physical Dalvin Cook is, it's not just one or two. No, he's going to wear you down all the way to that fourth quarter. And that's why I expect him to explode at, so he could have some upside in this Thanksgiving slate. So I do like Dalvin Cook. If we're looking at fantasy points allowed to running backs across the board, the New England Patriots have been number one for pretty much all year. If I just adjust these rankings here, let's flip this all the way down to the bottom. The Patriots have been number one all year long. As you see, number one rank and number one in the red zone as well. 3.9 yards per carry, 78 total yards, all right? So you can consider Dalvin Cook. He's not going to be my lock at the number 2 running back, but I have no problem going to Saquon Barkley. Tony Pollard is clearly the better running back in this 2 running back committee here for the Dallas Cowboys. He had an explosion game here, 39 fantasy points against the Minnesota Vikings. They pretty much laid down after the first half, and the Cowboys really poured it on, all right? So fantasy points allowed, 2 running backs. We're looking at the New York Giants, and they've been pretty solid all year long. We're looking at 17th overall, 19th in the red zone. But the key factor here is, yet again, it's a similar situation to the Dallas Cowboys. 113 yards rushing, 5.3 yards of carry. So this is a great spot for Pollard. If you want to go contrarian and get away from Pollard, then you can go with Zeke. Zeke is still going to get those carries in the red zone, all right? You can disregard the Q tag. He's still been practicing limitedly, okay? So as you can see, Zeke is still getting around double-digit touches here. He's not going to get that many receptions. The key to Zeke is him getting in that end zone. As you can see, the last past 3 games, he has 5 touchdowns. So in that goal-to-goal situation, they're giving the ball to Zeke. In between the 20s, they're giving the ball to Tony Pollard. So we can go either way in this game for the Dallas Cowboys and the Giants. All right, that's just perfect for the NFC. More of defense, running backs type of situation, type of games between those 2 teams. All right. Other running backs we can look at, we got Ramondre Stevenson. He's in an okay matchup, but he's splitting work with Damian Harris. Stevenson is more of the receiving back, as you can see, 6, 7, 8, 5 targets in the last past 5 games. That's where he's getting the majority of his fantasy points. He's not been very, very effective rushing the ball since week 7, where he got a touchdown, and week 6, where he had 2 touchdowns. So we need Stevenson to take advantage of his receiving work, and Mac Jones has no problem checking down that football, so we can consider him at 6,400, but he's not 100% love at that. And if we look at fantasy points allowed to the running back position here, the Minnesota Vikings, we are going to find them. They are in the middle of the pack, okay? 82 yards a game, rushing 3.7. So I don't think we should go towards that avenue there with Stevenson. You can consider Damian Harris. He's going to get some work as well because most of the ownership will be on Stevenson. But I think we can avoid that backfield, all right? Next, guys, we want to talk about will be Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams has been a big factor here, right? He's taken over the reins. He's been the bell cow because of DeAndre Swift's injuries. This man leads the NFL in rushing touchdowns with 12. So he came through with 3 last week against the Giants. And then in this game against the Buffalo Bills, it's going to be a little bit more of a tougher test. Bills defense is way better than the New York Giants. This is an elite top tier defense, and they pride themselves on stopping the run as well. So maybe I see more of a game for DeAndre Swift trying to be effective in that pass game. Swift saw limited work. Only 5 carries for 20 yards, got in the end zone in the cleanup time at the end. But the key factor is here, the receiving work. 3 receptions, 3 targets for 12 yards, okay? That's where DeAndre Swift is going to set himself apart. He can be considered at 5,600. If I had to choose a running back from that Detroit backfield, I get it. Jamal Williams just had a great game, but Swift still has some upside, especially at that cheap price at 5,600. All right, let's go to another gem here. This is going to be my second favorite running back, other than Pollard, Barkley, Zeke. We're looking at Devin Singletary. All right. All right, Saquon Barkley didn't come through for us last week against Detroit, but I believe Devin Singletary will. All right, now this can be a contrarian play here, and a nice little opposite play if you avoid Josh Allen. All right, if you go away from Josh Allen, we've seen the past 2 weeks this Buffalo Bills team run the football more and give Devin Singletary some carries in the red zone, and that has came through the past 2 weeks. 16 fantasy points and 17 fantasy points against the Minnesota Vikings. He had 2 touchdowns, and against the Cleveland Browns, he had 1 touchdown. So Devin Singletary is going to be a sneaky play here, and I'm noticing something right now. We had Pollard and Zeke go off against Minnesota. That's going to be a factor. And we see right here against Minnesota yet again, Devin Singletary went off against Minnesota. So we can consider Damian Harris. I'd rather play Damian Harris over Stevenson, okay? So the main 4 guys at running back will be Barkley, Pollard, Singletary, and I like Damian Harris as the number 4 option. I do not like Mac Jones. The Patriots are more of a rushing team anyway. I like Damian Harris over Ramondre Stevenson, okay? So those are going to be the 4 running backs we should key in on for this Thanksgiving slate. And then behind that will be DeAndre Swift. Any cheaper guys down low here? We could look at, it would need to be injuries. Nyheim Hines is just a pass-catching running back that's not getting that many snaps. James Cook is behind him. Matt Breida is the number 2 running back in this offense. He's getting a spare amount of work. He would need to get into end zone, which he did against Detroit because it was pretty much the game was over and he got in. Other than that, I don't think we need to go down low this far, all right? So we're going to focus on those 5 guys that I mentioned. Let's move on to the wide receivers. The pass catchers we are going to focus in on to pair with our quarterbacks. Remember, our main 2 guys are going to be Josh Allen, Kirk Cousins. Those are going to be the 1-2 we're going to focus on. And then we'll sprinkle in a couple Giants and Dallas guys. But we're going to start off at the top here, Justin Jefferson. This is a little bit of scary matchup here. No, it's not. I'm not scared. He's not going to have 2 bad games. He's not going to have 2 bad games. No, he's not going to do it. So we're going with Justin Jefferson here. He had 3 for 5 for 33. I understand Bill Belichick's going to take out your best player. Yeah, but this is a little bit different here. The way they scheme up Justin Jefferson, this Kevin O'Connell offense here, similar to what they did with Cooper Kupp, they're going to find ways to get him the ball, especially if he's had a poor game. The last time he had a single-digit game in week 3, he came back with 34 fantasy points, all right? So highly expect Justin Jefferson to bounce back. In everyone else's mind, they're going to see the New England Patriots. It's Bill Belichick. He's going to take out the best player. I'm going against that. Give me Justin Jefferson at 8,200. And that's going to go great with this stack here because you're paying down at quarterback for Kirk Cousins if you decide to go that route, okay? Next guy we're going to look at will be Stefon Diggs. He's going to be highly owned because he's going to be paired with Josh Allen, all right? So Stefon Diggs obviously has some great upside in this game against Detroit. It's a dream matchup, all right? It's a dream matchup. We're looking at wide receivers. Fantasy points allowed, 2 wide receivers here. It's a great matchup here. If we go all the way down here, Detroit Lions 28th ranked overall, 22nd in the red zone. So Stefon Diggs is in a great spot, but can we get contrarian in our lineup builds? We could, all right, because there's other guys in this offense. Number 2 would be Gabe Davis. This is the perfect opportunity for Gabe Davis to have one of his explosions, all right? Everyone's going to be on Diggs. Gabe Davis flies under the radar. He is in a progressive spot here to get in that end zone against these Detroit Lions, all right? So I'm loving him at 5,300 in salary. Super, super cheap there. Love Gabe Davis, okay? CeeDee Lamb against the Giants defense, he's in an okay spot, but for some reason, he's just not the favorite target of Dak Prescott. That was an anomaly what we saw in Week 10 against Green Bay. Other than that, it's just been a mediocre CeeDee Lamb, despite the fact that we're paying a very high premium price. So let me see CeeDee Lamb against the Giants the last 5 games. Let's see if we see something here. So I just took out Dak Prescott, put in CeeDee Lamb. We have, all right, the last we got 23. It's up and down. It's like a seesaw. 23 and a 9, and an 18, and an 11, and a 22. He's in an okay spot, all right? If you feel comfortable, if you have enough salary going towards him, then fine. I have no problem going to him in this game. It's not like the Giants have a lockdown corner. So CeeDee Lamb is a decent play on Thanksgiving. Amon-Ra St. Brown is in a better spot here. In a game where there's going to be a ton of points scoring, they're need to keep pace. I want Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's a lock for Thursday, okay? He's an absolute lock. Alpha wide receiver. 19 targets the last past 2 weeks. Things are getting back going. He's going to get in the end zone on Thanksgiving. I guarantee it, all right? This is a lock play for Thanksgiving, all right? I'm going to make sure I fit him in here. I'm going to make sure I leave him on this board. We'll take out Diggs. We'll leave this lineup right here so far. So Gabe Davis, Amon-Ra St. Brown, I love. If we're going down to this $5,000 range in salary here, Jacoby Myers can be considered. He's the number 1 option on New England Patriots as a wide receiver. I have no problem going towards him as a bottom flex play. But someone I like a little bit more is Darius Slayton, all right? We saw 10 targets from Darius Slayton against the Detroit Lions here. He's going to see Diggs matchup, but he's been super consistent the past 4 weeks. All double-digit fantasy point performances from Darius Slayton. So at $5,000 in salary, I like me some Darius Slayton, all right? He's someone to consider. Let's see if we can find, especially the fact that Wan'Dale Robinson is out. So he's just going to be more focused on in this offense. And if Wan'Dale had 13 targets and Darius Slayton only had 10, we should see a nice little bump or increase in his usage as well, right? Michael Gallup has been okay since coming back from injury. Nothing really explosive, but he could have a game where he wakes up in this, especially if all the attention is going to be on CeeDee Lamb. 4,600. Michael Gallup can be a bottom tier flex play. The number 2 wide receiver for Detroit is Khalif Raymond. Oh no, is Josh Reynolds even back yet? Let's see if we can find Josh Reynolds. We don't even see him. Khalif Raymond. Josh Reynolds has the Q tag. He's right here. All right, so this is the number 2 wide receiver here. If he's able to play, he's the guy I would go to over Khalif Raymond, okay? If you wanted to go that route, a cheaper option on Detroit. But I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is an absolute lock. So I don't think we need to go that deep in the bag. But if we do consider it, it's going to be Josh Reynolds over Khalif Raymond, all right? Isaiah McKenzie is the number 3 option slot play. He's been seeing a big downturn since the beginning of the season. He was more utilized at the beginning. As you can see, 6, 9, 3, and 3. His targets at the beginning of the season. Now things have changed. Dawson Knox is healthy, so they're looking at him as the number 3 option in the offense as well. Devontae Parker is the number 2 wide receiver for New England, but this is an ugly offense. He has a Q tag currently. And if we're looking at a punt play wide receiver, we got a few guys here. Number 1 would be KJ Osborne. He has some upside here at 3,600. And also, let me pull back up. Other than Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen at 4,900 is a decent play. He has a connection with Kirk Cousins, obviously. He hasn't gotten in the end zone since week 6. So he was still getting a solid amount of targets. Other than that Dallas game, we've seen, what was it, 4? Can we get 5? 5, 6, 7, 8. He had 8 games in a row of over 7 targets, all right? So if he's in the right situation, he's going to be coming through with fantasy points. Adam Thielen is a consideration as well. Let's go back down here and see if we see other guys other than KJ Osborne. We got Tyquan Thornton need to get open deep. Other than that, it's pretty ugly. We don't need to go that far down here, okay? Unless injury happens. Let's move on to the tight ends. Last but not least will be the tight ends and the defenses here. I'm gonna close this thing out. If you're paying attention, I'm building a lineup for you. If you're not paying attention, we're building a lineup. Average remaining salary, we'd have to cut some salary here. We'd have to go cheaper probably at the running back position on one of them and find some more gems at the wide receiver spot. But hey, we can go double tight end. So I got some gems for you at that tight end position. The number one guy we're going to start off with will be TJ Hawkinson, all right? Hawkinson here, since being acquired from the Detroit Lions, he has been peppered, okay? Peppered. Look at this. The past 3 games, he has 28 targets, all right? 28 targets in the last 3 games here. Hasn't gotten in the end zone. That's the only thing holding him back. I think he's going to get in the end zone on Thanksgiving. I like the way they're utilizing him as a number 2 option pretty much in this offense. It's Justin Jefferson. It's then TJ Hawkinson. And then below him is Adam Thielen. So I'm loving TJ Hawkinson, especially if they try to focus in on Justin Jefferson. Hawkinson is going to scoop up all those points there. And at $5,000 salary, I have no problem going towards him. Some other tight ends we got. Dalton Schultz is looking a little bit better, coming back from his injury earlier in the season. 2 solid games against Chicago and Green Bay. This was a blowout against Minnesota. If the game's a little bit closer, we're going to see a different game from Dalton Schultz in this one here. It's going to be more closely contested. It's not going to be a 37-point blowout. So I expect Dalton Schultz to get back to his normal usage here around that 5 to 6 to 7 target range. Get him in the 50 to 60 yardage. And if he gets in the end zone, you're looking at a double-digit fantasy tight end. So Schultz is in a nice spot. Dawson Knox is going to be my number 2 favorite option here at tight end. Back-to-back weeks of 7 targets. We had 6 targets. He has 7 catches against the Browns. They're utilizing him more and more. That 2-touchdown game could be coming very, very soon, all right? He has a knack for those type of games. Solid performances against Green Bay and KC. I expect Dawson Knox to have another solid performance against these Detroit Lions, all right? So I'm loving him as a cheap play, 3,500. If you're a little bit desperate, definitely have no problem going towards him, all right? Hunter Henry is the number 1 tight end for the New England Patriots, but they don't throw to the tight end position at a high clip because they have 2 of them. They got Hunter Henry and they have Jonnu Smith, all right? So you trying to figure out which one is going to have their day is going to be really hard to figure out. So I would mainly try to avoid that situation, okay? Plus, if we're looking at fantasy points allowed to the tight end position, Minnesota has been, let's double check Minnesota here before we move on. Minnesota has been decent. They've been okay. If we want to go to the yardage, they're towards the middle pack of the league here with 48 and only 0.4 TDs. They're not giving up many TDs to that tight end position, so we can go away from that. If we got any gems down here, the one gem we got is from the New York Giants here. Lawrence Cager, former New York Jet tight end. He was a wide receiver, converted to the tight end position. Giants picked him up, and they have been utilizing him. Week 10, he got in the end zone. Week 11, he got 4 fantasy points, 20 yards. And now he's in a situation against the Dallas Cowboys, who do struggle against that tight end position. And this Giants team is decimated with injury. He's going to be someone that can be an X factor. He has the wide receiver speed. And at 2,700, trust me, no one's going to be playing him. You can get him at a very, very low ownership. I love Lawrence Cager as a punt tight end for Thanksgiving slate, all right? Now, the defense is to close this video out. I would stick to Obviously, Bills are in a solid situation at 3,400. I like the Vikings to bounce back in this game against Mac Jones. I think he's been struggling all season long. He throws a lot of interceptions. So I think that's going to be a good defense to go towards at 3,100. Plus, you got a Vikings team trying to prove themselves and bounce back from that poor performance. All right. Giants and Cowboys. That's going to be a tightly contested game, low scoring as well. I have no problem going there. And the Lions defense, you could go that route, but I would stay away of going against the Buffalo Bills offense. So my number one play at defense will be the Vikings defense. All right. So thank you guys for tuning in. Let me know in that comment section down below if you have any other plays at QB, running back, wide receiver, and tight end. Maybe we could talk about some strategy down in that comment section. All right, so I appreciate you guys so much. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetsJetsD, and I'll be back with another video very soon. All right, peace out, guys. Happy Thanksgiving.